These are the key points that you need to remember for the Making a Living unit. First of all, jobs can be categorised into 4 groups. Firstly, primary jobs. Primary jobs are jobs that are involved in taking natural materials from the earth. So for example, mining takes coal from the earth. You could also use the example of farming or forestry. Secondary jobs are jobs that are involved in manufacture, so taking that natural material and turning it into something else. An example of this could be a carpenter taking wood that has been cut down and turning it into furniture. Or it could be a food company taking the raw food material like wheat and turning it into something else like bread. Tertiary jobs are service sector jobs, so it might be selling something or some other kind of service, for example restaurants. Lastly, there are quaternary jobs. These are what we consider more modern industries, often involved in the transition of knowledge from one person to another. So we would include in this category jobs involved in ICT or in finance. It's important that you know some examples of these jobs as well as what the categories mean. Now, once you've learnt those, you then need to have a look at the Clark-Fisher model. This links development and employment structure in a particular place, and it shows how the employment structure of a particular country can change over time. It starts by looking at the employment structure in a place in what we know as the pre-industrial era. This is before a country becomes industrialised. So example countries that are still in this particular stage of development are many countries in Africa. The structure of employment in these countries tends to be a lot of people working in primary jobs, for example farming, much less working in secondary and tertiary jobs, and nobody working in quaternary jobs. As a country develops, we call it an NIC, a newly industrialised country. They're entering the industrialised phase. You'll see a drop in the number of people working in primary jobs and a big rise in the numbers of people working in secondary jobs. The majority of people will be working in manufacturing. Tertiary jobs will also see a rise, however nobody will work in quaternary, or very few. The last stage in the model is the post-industrial era. You can think of this as countries who are MEDC, developed countries. You'll have very few people working in primary jobs. Secondary jobs will still be fairly popular, but will have started to drop off. There will be a big rise in the number of people working in service sector jobs. And we will see more and more people working in quaternary jobs, these modern industries. So you need to remember that the employment structure in LEDCs, MEDCs and also NICs varies and is very different. It's important to remember as well that the jobs in rural areas and urban areas are also very different in all countries in the world. The opportunities for employment in rural areas tend to be working in farming or related industries. Cities tend to offer a wider variety of employment opportunities, but obviously you're not going to find something like a farm in the middle of a city. So more jobs will be involved in the secondary, tertiary and quaternary sectors. On the edges of cities, you'll find a lot of factories, and therefore secondary jobs tend to be found on the outside of the city. In the city centre, you're more likely to find offices, so you'll find people working in tertiary and quaternary jobs. You also need to know the key terms formal and informal. Formal jobs or formal employment are very structured jobs where there is a set wage and a set number of hours. Informal jobs tend to be more casual types of labour, which may be illegal or legal, but people tend to be paid cash in hand rather than through the more formal structures. Now, you need to think also about what jobs may be available in the future and what types of employment may be more popular in the future. And you need to link this to other topics and other units. In particular, we need to be thinking about what we know as green industries. By that I mean people working in the environmental sector, jobs that are looking at achieving sustainable development. And so a lot more people will be working in jobs such as trying to work out where to build wind farms or how to make cities a lot greener, running more kinds of public transport, and all things linked into those ideas.